Rent versus own, the $1,000,000 question. Hey everybody, Scott Walters. Buckle up and strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows or sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. We got a good one to unpackage today. Rent versus own. That is the $1,000,000 question. What should we do if we're concerned that the market, the real estate market, is about to crash? It's very hard to go out there and buy, that's for sure. And in many cases, it does not make sense. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe right away. There's never been a more important time in history to get centered and surrounded with like-minded people. Iron will continue to sharpen iron. Like I was about to say, my friends, there's usually only one time in history it'll make more sense to be a renter than a homeowner, and that's in a real estate crash. Anytime the real estate market is trending the opposite direction, crashing, and all areas are going to behave differently. Today I was talking to Joven in Georgia, a subscriber. He sent an email into the show and he said, hey, this is my landlord just raised my rent from $1,400 to $1,900. Now I'm to the point where I may as well just be making a mortgage payment. And he's right. He's absolutely right. So I went ahead and took his call personally, talked to him. He was so grateful. He's like, I can't believe I'm talking to you. I thought maybe I would just get some sales or assistant or somebody, not you personally. I can't wait to tell my wife. So Joven, thank you for following the show since the beginning. Our job is to help people, not charge people for advice. Are you kidding me? I'll earn your business later. But I wanted to talk to Joven because I'm like, you're right, dude. Listen, if you're starting to pay what in rent, what would equal a housing payment, maybe it's time to start kicking some tires. Not FOMOing in and falling in love with the first house you see, kicking tires. So this is what's going on now, friends. A lot of people right now are getting price gouged by their landlords. And here's the deal. As a landlord myself, there's been times where maybe I get hit with higher property taxes, the cost to own and operate the property, maybe insurance is going up. It gets passed along to the tenants, but it's not fair for me to pass it all on to the tenant. And that's what a lot of people are doing out there. They're just passing it right on to the tenant. They'll pay for it. If you have room, like I have room in real estate, I will pass some of it on. I will absorb it. I usually split it evenly. Hey, listen, I'm going to share in this too. I'm not passing it all along to you. Happy tenants stay put. Tenant turnover is not your friend. So Joven in Georgia, his landlord at some point is going to get notice. He's going to leave. He's on a month to month, and I know many of you are too. So today what I really wanted to talk about is how we can decide if it's better to rent or to own currently, or what's right around the corner. Now, at some point, what's going to happen, it's going to pencil out where you're going to look at properties. And that's one of the things I wanted to communicate today. You can, if this is you or somebody you know, you can get started by simply searching the internet, looking at properties, whether it's one of the big search engine websites. Just be careful. They're full of clickbait. They're trying to get you to click and request information. Scam listings are popping up all over. But if you can check a property's estimated value range and its estimated rental range and your cost to own versus cost to rent, that is the metric. That is the only thing you need to start looking at. If you can own that house for cheaper than it would cost to rent it, that's a house that maybe you get a hold of me and I get an agent, an actual real live top rated agent to go ahead and get into the house and take a look and examine it and see if in fact it pencils out to be a smart purchase or not. Because the realities are, friends, like I said, see, it's not so important what you paid for the house. If your payment is below its rent range, then it's not that necessary. I was talking to Joven today, our subscriber, and I said, listen, friend, and he knows it. He's like, man, Scott, I'll tell you what, because he had an agent in the buying euphoria. He said he wrote 50 offers, all refused. Not one of them stuck. And he's like, I'm so grateful that it didn't stick because I've been watching your videos. Buyer's remorse is what people are experiencing now as the market is reversed course. Can you imagine if you went above and beyond appraised values in a purchase during the bubble? And you didn't examine the property's rent range? And like our subscriber, he's like, my wife is in between jobs. There's a lot of people about to be in between jobs with hefty housing payments, and their house isn't worth what they paid, and they didn't examine the rent range. So one of the things we can do now, currently moving forward, as every area in America is going to behave differently. Some are going to crash first, some are going to crash last. But in a deep cycle recession, which it appears we're headed for, everybody gets touched in it. Some will get hit harder for sure. Some will be a little insulated. Like I always say, you might be recession insulated where you live, but you're not recession proof. You will get touched too. Mark my words. Everybody gets touched in this thing. Some areas are going to get hit extremely, extremely hard. Primarily all those big developments that are still under construction as we speak, that started construction prior to the interest rate hikes, the downturn, and now are about to deliver units into the worst possible market they could hope for. Now, I was talking to our subscriber. I know a lot of your areas, mine included, because prices went up so high, they're still relatively elevated even as they come down. But eventually they're going to come down and not look so good anymore. That's just the natural progression of a correction, recession, or economic depression. Take your pick. It becomes the percentage of likelihood now. So any industry professional out there trying to tell people, buyers, sellers, clients, this time is different. The last crash was due to loose lending. No, this time is worse. Bigger bubble, bigger blowback. Your clients will respect you more if you can at least put a percentage of likelihood. If you say there's 0% likelihood that we'll see something worse than 2008, for me, click on to the next. Give me a straight shooter. Give me somebody who's going to give it to me straight. But the realities are, friends, what we really need to do now, search properties. Some of them won't show you their estimated rent range, but you can always find something in the neighborhood, find a way to find out the property's rent range. Cost to own versus its rent range. That's all you need to know. If you're financially fit enough to go buy, then possibly it's time to buy. I want to see you guys be able to buy a house for much less than it would cost to rent, though. I want to see a cash flowing proposition, even if it's your primary home, because that way you sleep better at night knowing if anything ever happens to you, your spouse, your loved one, anybody has a problem, job problem, anything, you know, hey, that's no problem. Renter goes in, I collect rents while I figure things out. And maybe you just decide, I want to start building up wealth in real estate, have a real estate portfolio. This is the way it's designed to happen. If you're a renter and your landlord's price gouging you, it's time to put your feelers out. Now, typically these big search engine websites only take stuff off the multiple listing service, which is always going to be top of the market rents. Rarely will you find a deal. And if it looks like a deal, it could be a scam. So you have to be careful. Unfortunately, you got to go like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, where mom and pops are uploading their rentals. And then you might get lucky once in a while and see somebody that's putting their, doing what I always say, finding out who their competition is and beating them and getting a heavy interest in the property and hand picking a good tenant. And then it's your job to look like the perfect tenant. No life stories, no hard luck stories. No, my current landlord's price gouging me and I'm sick of it and I'm looking for it. No, all you need to say is I'm a perfect tenant. I have perfect rent history. You will never hear from me. All you'll see is rent checks. Love the property. Would be an honor and a privilege to rent this place. You got to separate yourself from the others. So the first thing you do is when you send correspondence over to a property, if you think it's a mom and pop, legit, not a scam. And if you think it's a scam, just be careful. You can send them an email and see what comes back and then try to read between the lines. You want to be no information without seeing the property. I want to see somebody at the property. You need to use in the title, perfect tenant. Love property, something that's going to stand. And then maybe have a tenant resume, overview letter. Here's an attached resume of my tenant overview. Rent history, good rent hitters, cash reserves, pay on time, no debt, whatever the case may be, anything, bullet points, just easy read. If it's a life story, I'm already on to the next. I need to breeze through it. I like this person. Let's get him over to the property. That is the way you find deals. They are out there, but they're going to be few and far between. But the rental market follows the sales market. Eventually, as we see the liquidation of homes occur, there's going to be a lot of empty units out there and people are going to need to rent. We're going to have to be careful moving forward, though, because a lot of people are going to be maybe not making the payment on their properties, renting them out until they get foreclosed on. A lot to navigate through. It's going to be tricky. I'm laughing at myself because it's so complicated. It's so hard. But that's the best advice I can give. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator. Somebody wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Sometimes It's better. You're better off renting than owning, typically in a real estate crash. But if you start to look at properties now, start to gear yourself towards buying a property, there's no harm in examining cost to own, cost to rent. Do they pencil out? Would it cash flow for me? Then, if you're financially fit enough, it's time to write offers and see who's motivated. No over asking price offers, rarely even at their current asking price. I'm going to look for how long they've been on the market, how many price reductions. Then I'm going to shoot my offer over to them accordingly, not falling in love with anything I see. Because as soon as you fall in love with the property, they got you. And agents are really good at trying to get you to fall in love with the property so they can get the sale done and get on to the next one. Get somebody that's willing to roll up their sleeves, get their hands dirty if possible, and work for you. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are. We work for you. Agents got too euphoric thinking that they were the most important person in the room. They're not. You guys are. Just like our subscriber got his call today, it will always be the case at this channel. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to contact me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation, ready to assist you. It'd be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well. Also, if you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, I think you're really going to love the next video. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today. I'll see you on the next video.